to the show. Exciting stuff going on here. We are actually the pre-show. We haven't started the actual podcast recording. We're going to be talking about some awesome YouTube news today with our friend Luria. But we wanted to let you guys know we're also live on Clubhouse. So we are streaming live with the magic of Ecamm. And by the way, if you're wondering how we're doing all this cool stuff, all these cool overlays, go to Ecamm, go social media news live /Ecamm. Check it out. They're just amazing, the stuff that you can do here on all the live streaming stuff. So all these cool overlays, all this stuff. Luria uses it. She's a big fan too. So just want to give them a big shout out as well. But we are live right now on Clubhouse. So if you guys have an invite, and want to go check it out over there, we are streaming live to that platform as well. We're going to be starting the show in about 6 minutes. But anyway, I want to give a shout out to the people who are in the room. We got Bruce, we got Rich, Callie's in there. So we will start the show in just a second. But thank you guys for joining us on this grand experiment that we're doing here on Clubhouse, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Periscope for however long that lasts. So... Lori, how are you doing today?
Live.
I'm fantastic. I'm excited to be on the show today and simulcasting to Clubhouse and doing all the things and testing and playing and having fun.
Right. You are on Clubhouse quite a bit. I mean, I see you over there quite a bit. So tell me about what are your thoughts about that?
Oh man, I am a big fan of Clubhouse. It's right up my alley when it comes to authenticity. And really, I was joking before we started all of this. I have no status because you had to move me into the audience.
Right.
At the same time, while I was joking about that, I fully believe that the beauty of Clubhouse is that there are no statuses. It's everyone's on the same playing field, and everyone has a chance to speak up and to offer value. And in the rooms that I'm in, everybody is willing to hear everybody else, and it's a full community, and I love that about Clubhouse. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of Uniquely You content on there. I'm going to be doing a lot of live video content on there as well. So I need to get my schedule back in order. It's been a big mess lately.
Yeah, I understand. So if you guys are listening on Clubhouse, what the plan is we're going to go live and do the podcast recording, and then what we're going to do is see if we can get you guys up on stage as well. And if you guys you have to give us permission that we are recording this and streaming it so we don't break Clubhouse's terms of service. But this is kind of a fun thing to try. So if you guys are wondering why we're not doing that right now in Clubhouse, is because we're going to do this, and then we'll do this after the show. So stick with us. Lori, how do you think this, like what we're doing now, but do you think you'll start doing this with live streams? Because, you're a live streaming pro. So what is your thoughts?
Yeah. So I've got a video coming up soon on my channel about the tech of how to do all of this. I think you and I were talking about maybe getting you on for that as well. And I am going to be testing strategy. So I always say, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm always testing things, right? And I'm not fully in it, or I don't fully believe that maybe putting, going both ways with Clubhouse is the right strategy for everybody in certain areas for certain intentions. Yes, I think it could be a really cool, beneficial thing to do, but there's also some downsides to it. Right. So I'm going to be playing with it, testing it, and coming up with the strategy that I will then teach people, and who should, who shouldn't, when you should, shouldn't. All of that things. Right.
So we've already got some questions, and I know that like Scott is saying, how are you doing this? So I'm actually, it's really interesting. I had to, we tested it beforehand. As they come up on as speakers in Clubhouse, we get an echo because you can't mute your phone all the way. It's really weird. So it's all coming through my phone, which is tied in to my Rodecaster. And so there's a couple, you can plug in your phone directly to Ecamm. Pat Flynn was doing it. He was having one headset on with his AirPods Pro and then having another one to monitor it. And so he could bring up the people's avatars on screen, which is great. But I wanted to have the great quality of audio since this is a podcast. So I did it through my phone into my Rodecaster. So I hope that explains it. Kathleen says, I'm on Clubhouse but never use it. Maybe I should. Oh my goodness. It's a time suck. But yeah, you should be there.
Yeah. Manage your time.
Yeah. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. Always a big supporter. And yes, we are live, Ian. So thank you for stopping by. And my friend Pat is here as well.
I want to say, Luria, I'm very interested to see when you start, quote, wrestling with that question and the pros and the cons, because when Jeff yesterday said, hey, we're going to test this out tomorrow, I said, are you sure you want to do that? And how are you going to do that? And why are you going to do that? And like the pros and cons, like it was started spinning in my head too. And so, yeah, I'm very interested, one, to see how things end up when we're done right now, but then also how you continue that conversation.
Yeah,
I'll be starting that process this over the weekend and into next week. And you know, it would be great for those of you who are listening in Clubhouse right now to fill us in when we do stop the podcast part of this and go into Clubhouse. Get your thoughts ready about the pros and cons from your perspective, because that's what I would love to hear.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hit go on the podcast machine here and we'll get started. But one of the things I did want to say is, because I decided to test it because I produced Guy Kawasaki's show and he just turned on his speakerphone and went, and he had like 120 people show up in his room and listen. So who knows? I mean, I'm not Guy Kawasaki, but I wanted to test this out to see. So I'm going to hit go. We will get started and talking about monetizing and growing on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will get started. Hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live, where we keep you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media. We're talking with industry experts, innovators, creators, and storytellers about the latest social media tools, tips, and tactics. And we broadcast live so you can ask your questions that matter the most to you and your business. But I first wanted to introduce my intrepid person with me, Eric Fisher. He is amazing. He is the host of Beyond the To-Do List, and he has been doing this for, I think, like 8 years. But he's also the director of the school at Agora Pulse. Talk about that a little bit, Eric.
Yeah, so I'm the director of social media education at Agora Pulse, which means that I'm heading up our partnership with the Social Media Manager School, which is a great place that you can go to get social media training. In fact, we have a free access version of the school where you can get over 70 plus hours. It's about to actually reach over 100 plus hours of training. Jeff's in there and a bunch of other people, and it's a great way to get started. So go to Social Media Manager School to check that out.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. He's always gives us great insight, but I'm so excited because I've been wanting to have her on for such a long time, is Luria Petrucci. We're going to be talking, like I said, about YouTube's $30 billion payout to creators, artists, and media organizations over the past 3 years, hashtag landing pages, and new YouTube metrics. But if you don't, for some reason, know who Luria is, she is a live video strategist. She's helping you create professional live videos that are uniquely you. And for over 14 years, Luria has created over 5,000 videos with over 1 billion with a B, views using video and live streaming shows. She's appeared on CNN, NBC, Fox, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, all the alphabet. She's been there. She's worked on live video for top brands like AT&T, Samsung, GoDaddy, and Panasonic. And Live Streaming Pros has built live video studios for top influencers like Amy Porterfield, Pat Flynn, Donald Miller, Michael Hyatt. If they have a cool studio, Luria's probably had her hand in it. So I've learned a ton for her. Luria, thank you so much, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I was, hurt that you didn't invite me sooner.
Well, hey, we just started. Come on, give me a break. Yeah. So this first piece of news that I want to talk about is that YouTube paid over $30 billion to creators in the last 3 years. So according to this letter published by the CEO, Susan Wojcicki, I think I pronounced that right, YouTube has paid out more than $30 billion to creators, artists, and media organizations. So what had happened is this number of the new channels that joined YouTube's partner program, which of course allows people to have advertising revenue, it doubled in 2020. And YouTube has said that it's contributed approximately $16 billion to the U.S. GDP in 2019, which is equal to like 345,000 full-time jobs. So and this is one of the reasons I want to ask you some questions, Luria, is that in the first half of the year, they reported that daily live streams grew by 45% on YouTube. And they were talking about from artists performing in their living rooms to churches even doing services on there. And they're really highlighting they grew this creator economy. So here's my question to you. If you're not already broadcasting to YouTube, can you catch up? And what is your strategy to catch up? Or is it too late for you to get on the YouTube bandwagon?
Yeah, you know what? Just give up. Just forget about it. Move on.
Right.
Go somewhere else. No, of course not. I hate the word catch up because that puts a lot of pressure on people to perform quicker. And you're going to be starting maybe a little late, and that's okay. We all start somewhere, and we all start at some point. So if now is the right time for you, then now is the right time for you. So get started and just go in with strategy and intention and understand what it is you're trying to accomplish outside of, I want views. Like,
right.
Great. Okay. What do you actually want? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to offer? What do you want your viewers to take away from you? And what mission are you trying to help them accomplish, right? So be very intentional about your processes and you'll do just fine. Some people are going to, see quicker success than others. And that's just part of this process. I've been doing this stuff for 15 years and I've had to start over from scratch a couple of times, and it is all okay at the end of the day. So don't worry about catching up. Just worry about getting started and doing the right things. And just doing is all that really truly matters, so that you can play a part in this community.
Great points. It gives us hope, I guess. So
I try.
Okay, so then let's see if we can't give some more hope here. So if it's not too late to get started, for somebody who is going to get started, what kind of starting off baseline in terms of how do I need to create content to be able to show up in YouTube to establish my audience?
So if you're on YouTube, you can just do live streaming in certain cases. However, you're going to want to mix, in most cases, you're going to want to mix a recorded video strategy with a live stream strategy. And so you want to do recorded video uploads. Keep in mind, YouTube is search based, right? So we want to create content that is searchable. And there are the outliers like musicians who are doing live performance. Like that's not going to be necessarily searchable content unless you're doing covers of popular bands, which is totally fine as well to get yourself started and up and running. But you want to think about being consistent. So YouTube needs you out there at least once a week. At least. But I would love to see you do one recorded video and a live stream, a week. And you can play those two things together. You're going to need to really think about what your live stream is going to be about. So a lot of times, if you have engagement and if you have a viewership, you can use that as a community-based tool to connect with your community. But if you're just getting started, you don't have a community yet. And so you need to work your way up to that. And you need to create searchable content from your live streams as well. So if you're doing a recorded video you've done all the title research and the keyword research, and you've put a lot of effort into that, you're going to do the same on your live stream so that people are getting value and can find that video after the fact of that live video being over. So you're training your audience that you do live, but you may not have anybody joining you live for a little while, and that's okay too.
That's interesting. So I think one of the questions I have, so like in this letter, the YouTube CEO said that, we mentioned that the live streams grew by 45% this year, but more than 500,000 channels live stream for the first time in 2020. That's a big jump. And the first time streamers accounted for more than 10 million streams on the platform. So I guess my question is, there's so many options for where you can go live. I mean, here we're going live everywhere because we're nerds and we like to do this kind of stuff. But what is the advantage of people live streaming on YouTube versus other platforms? Should I start with one and establish like, okay, this is my YouTube channel, and then I'm going to start doing live streams on YouTube, or should I go? It's easier to do multicasting now. What's your thoughts on that?
So if you're searching for the right platform, I'm okay with you, and this is a new strategy that I'm okay with people doing. Simulcasting to a variety of different platforms just to find out where your traction is. I don't really recommend simulcasting for simulcasting's sake. So if you're going to try and figure out, because, I can offer you all the tips and strategies about what platform to choose based on your content. But it may not be a hit right away. So sometimes you want to kind of feel it out. Like, is my audience over here on Facebook, or are they on YouTube, or where are they? Should I go to Twitch? Who's going to pick up on this content? So it's okay to kind of do some testing and simulcast out to everywhere and just learn. But then I want you to focus. Once you find your platform of choice, then you need to focus on building that platform. There are pros and cons to simulcasting, and these days, the softwares that we use bring the conversation into a single place, so you're not dividing your attention. However, if you are using certain things, like I use YouTube Super Chats, right? And then Facebook is left out, and they're like, what's this thing happening? Or how do I do that? Or how do I, participate in that? So there can be some disconnects that you need to be very aware of and very clearly offer guidance to your audience if you're going to simulcast.
Awesome. Eric, before you ask the next question, I want to follow up because there's a great comment, because I think it proves our point. Is Randall over on LinkedIn says, hey, I know Luria Petrucci, just subscribe to her YouTube channel. So there's one of the cool things about the live streaming is, like, I would think that, Luria has a big presence on YouTube, and I figured that's where people would connect with her. But it's that's the cool thing about multicasting to different places. You can bring other people on. So I thought that was a great point. So sorry to interrupt.
No, I love it.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to the money for a second, because when I first read this headline that YouTube paid over $30 billion to creators the last 3 years, something stuck out to me. One, it's a huge number. Two, that it was Google money and not just the YouTube industry. And I thought about, what are these other people that are doing things to raise money on YouTube? And then also, as a podcaster, my mind went, wait, what's the corresponding number in terms of the podcast industry? And let me say that I looked it up real quick. And in 2020, the podcast industry, and this is specifically advertising, was about 1 billion. So a lot smaller for just one of these years. And it got me thinking, okay, there are a lot of podcasters who are making money outside of advertising. So let's bring that question back into this conversation when it comes to YouTube. So Luria, I'm a little curious, what are some of the ways that you or others encourage your audience when they're just getting started to think at first, but as well as long term, how to make money or bring in revenue off YouTube if they don't feel like they want to just be aiming for taking that YouTube, that Google money that we're talking about here?
Right. I mean, honestly, let's not rely on Google AdSense for our YouTube channel, right? It can be good. It can be good money, but it can also take a very, very long time for that to actually be any good money. In the beginning, I want you to be thinking like a business with your content creation, right? And some people go into the content creation with just wanting to create content. And if you can approach it from a business perspective or mindset, while also not just making money, like, you've also got to focus on your community and value and creating amazing content. Excuse me, hold on. You want to be able to have both mindsets connected together, right? So as we're talking about money, I have a whole video on my YouTube channel, by the way, that goes over like 7 different ways to make money through your live streaming. One of the ways is affiliate programs. This can be a really powerful way to start making money quicker. Because if it's always going to take time to build an audience. It's always going to take time to bring revenue in from variety of different sources. But affiliate marketing can definitely be a huge benefit to you. It's a snowball effect, as all of these things are. And so maybe at first it's going to be coffee money. At first it's going to, then maybe it'll snowball into your electricity bill, or, then it starts to actually become something over time. I know that we were struggling for a while to get our affiliates, just past a couple $1,000s, and then all of a sudden it snowballed and now it's 30% of our revenue on a monthly basis. And so it can be a really powerful thing. So affiliate marketing offers you the ability to talk about the tech that you use and link to Amazon, or connect with, like, Epidemic Sound is one of my favorite things to be an affiliate for, because it's such amazing music that's royalty free, or that we're paying for the license and you don't get copyright strikes. Ecamm is a fantastic example of an affiliate program, right? So there are multiple, you have to look at it from your perspective of what's good for me and my audience. What's the right fit? You don't want to sign up to every affiliate program out there. You want to keep it focused so that you can provide massive value, create videos around those topics and those offerings. And then, you encourage your audience to use your link, and you can snowball that effect. And that can be it's one of my favorite ways to get started without a big audience.
So I have a couple of follow-up questions after those comments. So the first one, you mentioned a large percentage of affiliate revenue. It took you a while to get there, but it went up there. Is that all YouTube? Is that mainly where it comes from, or is it just the whole thing?
Do you mean the traction that we're?
Is your income mostly coming from YouTube affiliates, or is it just all your live video, that big percentage you mentioned?
All of the live video, but it also, I don't think we're currently running any ads to our affiliate programs, but we have tested that. And then also emails and things like that. So I focus on distribution of sources, and distribution of monetization efforts. But YouTube is the primary way we gain an audience, and the primary way that we're getting the traction with the clicks to the links and all of that. So that's our, I would say, the primary place, but not the only place.
So I want to circle also back and dig a little deeper, because of your live streaming excellence and expertise. Can you just start a new channel and just do live streaming on YouTube, or do you have to have the uploaded videos to build your channel before the live streaming on YouTube is effective? Can you have can you go live stream on YouTube without having, an established, uploaded channel kind of brand? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can. Like, the gamers do this, right?
Okay.
They don't have an established recorded video YouTube channel, and they focus solely on gaming, and that's all live. Musicians, like you said earlier, they do that as well. So it depends on, one, the topic, and it secondly depends on what you're wanting to train your audience and the YouTube algorithm for. I don't really recommend only live streaming, because the recorded videos do sometimes perform better, even on a replay. I don't know what's wrong with me today.
That's all right. You're allergic to Eric. That's probably what it is.
Let's call it that. Yes. So yeah, you want to kind of mix that strategy in, is my personal opinion on training the algorithm. But you do need to train your audience as well, that there are some live videos and there are some recorded videos. Now, obviously the live videos are going to be much longer, ideally, than the recorded videos, and that can throw the algorithm off. And so you need to be intentional about which videos you leave up, maybe repurpose some of that content. unlist some of the content if it's not going to be a good opportunity for new subscribers. So my Friday live streams are open Q&As. They're very community oriented. We goof off. We have a lot of fun. I don't leave those up for the general public to find because no one's going to search live streaming tech or whatever, like live streaming, whatever they're looking for, and then watch like an open Q&A for an hour and a half or 2 hours. That's not likely for that intention to match. And so I really think through what is this video's purpose before I even create the title and description. I know exactly what I'm going to do with it after the fact with the replay. So I have different intentions for different days of the week that I stream, and I do different things with those before and after.
Gotcha. So I want to bring up, sorry, Eric, I'm going to interrupt you one more time. But Ian brings up a great question. He goes, some people recommend that you have a different channel for your live streams. I prefer a mix, but is that problematic? What is your thoughts on that, Luria?
No, don't do that.
Okay.
There only start a new channel when you have 1 billion, subscribers on YouTube on your first channel. 1 billion, I'm exaggerating, but you have to have a reason and a purpose for starting a second channel, because it's much harder to manage 2 channels and get an audience for 2 channels than it is for 1 channel. You just don't want to overload that 1 channel with all the things. So the reason to start a second channel is, one, if it's completely different content and it's not the same audience intention. Second, if you are a big YouTuber and you have gained this huge audience and they love your content and you want to start diving into, which goes to the first one, a little bit of a different type of content, then you'll have momentum to be able to bring over some of those people into a second channel. It's really not beneficial to you to start a second channel just for live streaming.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that question, Ian. I appreciate that.
Yeah, good one.
All right, let's talk about this next news item, because this, I think, I'm actually kind of fascinated by this. So basically up until, well, I don't know when they started. It's been 1.5 years, 2 years plus maybe, when YouTube started using hashtags and having that be something that, was part of the ecosystem. But starting this month, they're saying that anybody clicking on a specific hashtag on YouTube, either on desktop or mobile, that's good, we'll see a new dedicated page that only contains videos with that hashtag. And they're going to be sorted to keep the, quote, best videos at the top. Now, what they say by best or what they mean by best, that's open to interpretation for sure. But this is really interesting. Luria, I'm interested to get your take. Have you seen this? Have you clicked on them? And I mean, we could dive into hashtag strategy now that this is part of it, but what's your first impressions here?
I was very disappointed not to see my video at the top of the page, but I think that's actually a really nice addition. For 2 years or however long it's been, we have been putting hashtags in our content for no good reason. It felt like, like this is the thing to do. But what's the point? It's really not that helpful. And now they've given a purpose for those hashtags, in my opinion. So and that will probably change my entire hashtag strategy, because right now we've been doing Live Streaming Pros, the name of the channel, as 1 hashtag, and you can have 3. And that was just kind of what everybody said, put the name of your channel in there. And I'm not sure that's going to do as much good with this new dashboard type searchability. So I'll be thinking a lot about that and playing with different options there. But yeah, maybe it kind of makes us all more intentional about the hashtags that we're using, but it also offers more gamification of the system of hashtags for people who to play tricks on the YouTube algorithm. So it could go either way.
So I guess that was my question. So, they said that the hashtag landing pages are accessed through clicking on a tag on YouTube, but not by doing a hashtag search. And to me, YouTube is a search engine. So without a search feature, how do you know what hashtags are popular or trending right now? Is there a way to figure that out? I couldn't see one.
Not that I've found. So I'm guessing that's going to be something that will come later. But obviously they're taking their sweet time with this hashtag stuff. But yeah, I don't know. And how many people are actually going to search the hashtags or click on a hashtag from a video? We put them at the bottom of our video description, and maybe we should move those towards the top so that people can click on them more. And my question is, what we'll be looking at is, with should we kind of think about hashtags like we think about playlists, and maybe create a bunch of videos with the same exact hashtag. That way we have more chances of rising to the top of that dashboard. That's a possibility as well.
Or branded hashtags. Like if you did the live streaming pros one, that would make sense, that then they could get they clicked on it, would get all your videos. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to do that. You let us know in the comments. Would you even do that? If you find a channel that you like, would you click on a hashtag if you saw that easily to go to a dashboard that has all of their videos, or would you just go to the channel page?
Or the playlist. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I was thinking actually that what's funny is that somebody, I mean, if live streaming pros has been using that hashtag, that branded hashtag, which is a quote best practice that people say on hashtags across all platforms. The interesting thing then is to see who else starts using your hashtag to then get their stuff seen with your stuff, right? So this almost seems like, you mentioned gamifying. It almost feels like a gamification for people who want to be seen with you versus you branding all your own stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I was going to say something.
Well, Scott says this. I thought this was a great point. He goes, my son watches YouTube only on our living room via our Amazon Fire TV, so we don't even see hashtags or descriptions. So, when we have these fragmented people where people are watching, is it going to matter in the first place? So very, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. So, yeah. By the way, I would be remiss if I did not mention our awesome sponsor, Ecamm. You can find out more about them at socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm, and that's ECAMM. If you're wondering how in the world I'm doing all this crazy stuff going on in the background and all these cameras and everything, oh man, Ecamm has made it super easy with their custom overlays. I know Luria, I went to her channel. I bought her courses. I've done all this stuff. This is really easy compared to what it used to be back in the day. So if you're interested in any sort of live streaming, make sure you guys go check them out at Social Media News Live socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. And I would really appreciate that. But thank you to Ecamm for their sponsorship. So this last bit of news, this last story we want to cover is, YouTube has kind of explained this new shorts thing, and they're talking about some analytics on how to measure views and all this stuff. So inside the creator, in this new Creator Insider video, they gave some specific insight on how shorts are measured and how they will impact channel analytics. So now apparently, and I have not tested this yet myself, but all users can upload shorts clips, and those are short vertical videos that are maximum of 60 seconds in length. You can, and here's another thing, you put the hashtag shorts in the title or description. And they said that may boost discovery views of your video. But we talked a little bit before this, and you haven't used it too much, Luria, but are you going to use shorts? Is that going to be part of your strategy? It seems like everybody has to have stories, any platform, even Pinterest now has them. So what are your thoughts on YouTube shorts?
I haven't, like I said earlier, my schedule has just been insane lately. And so I just haven't really had the focus to be able to use them, but it is something that I would like to actually put into our strategy. And I think that what I'm kind of thinking about is more behind the scenes type of stuff in addition to short little tips. And a lot of people are getting behind the scenes works for me for my content because people love to get out of the gear, right? And so when they see behind the scenes of gear, it intrigues them to the point where they want to watch more. So that works as a really good strategy for me. And I think it can work really well for most people, even if your content isn't about gear type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think a combination of behind the scenes and then like short little tips. 15 seconds, 10 seconds can be really challenging to deliver without editing. And so you kind of have to get good at that short form delivery unless you want to actually edit your videos and make it a big production thing, which I don't have time for. And so that's not happening. So yeah, but I'll definitely be putting them into practice. People are seeing a lot of success with them, and I'm way late to the game on that one. But hey, I wasn't late to the game on Clubhouse. So
There you go.
I'll be curious.
Go ahead, Eric.
Go ahead.
No,
I'll be curious to see. What are you doing? Anyway, I'll be curious to see if these shorts can be used or cross-posted into other places like other platforms that have stories or Instagram Reels or even TikTok. But again, there you go with the pros and cons of that, whether that's a good idea or not. What do you think?
I mean, you can download your video and share it to a different platform. If your strategy is, I like to create platform specific content. That's what I kind of preach. At the same time, I don't always do as I preach. But because we get lazy as content creators, we all get a little lazy. There's so many different platforms. And so you do need to, at the end of the day, whether you're going to be lazy about it or not, you do need to make sure that it's the right strategy for that platform, and make sure that you understand TikTok versus Instagram stories versus YouTube stories and what works best for that. And sometimes that takes practice and playing and just understanding where you're getting traction on what kind of content and then adjusting. So maybe you don't share every single thing the same across those different stories, shorts, whatever we're calling it. And maybe you learn that TikTok likes this type of content from you. And so you only upload that, but then YouTube Shorts likes that type and something else. And so you do a combo over there. You kind of have to experiment. Content creation is all about experimentation at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about this? This is kind of some related news to this, the press release they put out is YouTube added some new data insights to highlight video performance in the first 24 hours of posting. So what it's doing, it's providing key insights and reach and resonance with your audience. It's showing you what the algorithm is looking at to, you may want to amplify that content that's kind of done well with viewers. So have you played with that metric? I mean, you get so many conflicted things from like, okay, do short videos on YouTube, use this new short feature. No, but you want to at least have a video about 3 minutes long. So, and it's time watched and it's all this stuff. And I'm like, which metric matters? What am I supposed to do, Luria?
Well, I see Rob in the house from TubeBuddy. And that's something that I'm going to be diving way deeper into over the next month in content that we're producing is looking at those metrics. Watch time is important. The visibility, the click-through rates, things like that are very, very important. So you definitely don't need to pay attention to all of the stats. But definitely I like the fact that they're giving us a little bit of visibility into like, this thing is performing really well. So pay attention to that. And if it is performing really well, you need to lean into that. And one thing that you can do is promote that on social, in your email list, other ways, when you see traction happening on a particular video. That way it increases that traction, which is going to exponentially increase your results from that one video. I have had a video that I didn't do any of the normal promotion for last weekend that I released, and it bombed. And that's because I didn't do any promotion for it, but it also just, for whatever reason, the algorithm didn't love it. And, I have to go back and tweak that, things like that, have to give it more promotion. So you're wanting to give promotion to both things that bomb and things that do well. But on the things that bomb, you need to actually tweak things, but you don't want to touch something that's doing really well. So you need to be very aware of what you're touching and what you're not based on those analytics as well.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap things up, and we asked where we can find about you and all that stuff. But I produce Guys Kawasaki's podcast, and he asked a question. He started using it in all his things now, and I'm totally stealing it from him. So I'm going to ask you this: is there a question that we should ask you that we didn't? Is there something that we should have asked you during this interview that we did not? That you think is important about YouTube strategy, I guess.
Okay, about YouTube strategy. I would just say, I mean, we talked a lot about intention and stuff, right? And I want you to really, really hear that when it comes to YouTube strategy, whether we're talking recorded videos or live streams, the intention of your video is massively, massively important. And so you need to think through those different options. And I like to look at whether your intention is community or whether it's education. I look at it from a piece perspective. So it's the first piece of the puzzle when you're creating content, PIECE. So P is play. Are you going to be playing? Is that your intention? Game shows, gaming, things like that. Or are you going to, I'm trying to remember this on the fly here. Inspiration. Or is your content inspirational? That's going to be a different intention and different structure, different keywords, different after the fact, processes. E, educate. Are you educating? Then we have C, community. Or your sole focus is building that community and connecting to the community members. Or the last E being, hold on. Entertain. This is a new thing that I'm teaching. I was like, wait. I got it. Entertain. So if you look at the intention of the first piece of that puzzle, what are you doing with your content? Really think through that and create content around that so that you know exactly what you're doing up front before you ever live stream, and you know exactly what you're doing during the stream and after the stream.
Good stuff. Look, see how good you did on the fly with that tough question at the end. That was awesome. So before we wrap things up, Luria, where can people find out more about you and your services and what you teach? And this that was worth the price of admission right there, that whole last thing you just did. So very, very cool.
Head on over to, since we're talking about YouTube, youtube.com/live streaming pros. And I'm live 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, with tech talk, strategy talk, being better on camera, all the things you need in your toolbox for live streaming successfully.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Luria, for being here today. And Eric, where can people find about you and your awesome podcast and all the stuff that you do?
Yeah, check out beyondthetodolist.com for the podcast, and check out Social Media Manager School for my work over at Agora Pulse. And I hope to see you soon.
Awesome. And with that, you guys, appreciate you guys being here with us today in this awesome experiment we're doing also on Clubhouse. Our next show is Friday, February 5th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And now we're actually a podcast. It finally went through on Apple iTunes. We'd love for you guys to go there and subscribe and leave a review. Google's coming. It's just taken a while, but I don't know what's going on. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all you guys in the comments, and we will talk to you next time. Bye now.
Bye.
And I turned off the podcast machine, so we're good. So I want to get over on Clubhouse. Thank you guys for watching. There's Abby is saying great tips. Carrie, thank you so much for showing up. You're such a great supporter. Same with you, Pat. Appreciate you. Kathleen, great stuff. Thanks. So I think if you guys are still hanging with us on Clubhouse, we're going to continue to live stream. So if you guys want to raise your hand and have us bring you up on stage, we would love to talk with you. But the first thing you need to come out of your mouth when you get on stage is say, hey, I give permission to record this and stream. So Jason, I see you in the audience on Clubhouse. Would you like to come up on stage? I want to know how the experience is over on Clubhouse, because this is a big experience.
Jeff, I have a question though.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to be over on the stage and talk on Clubhouse. So we almost need to.
But no, but you can, but you can hear them. It'll be fine. So Jason's
Okay.
Here you go. Here we go. So Jason, do we have permission to stream you and record your voice?
Yes, you may record my voice.
Awesome. So how was the experience over on Clubhouse?
It was great. Great. I enjoyed it. Just knowing, I don't know, it's just a perceived thing, I guess, but hearing it live and being able to listen to it on my phone so easily, I liked it a lot. And just the energy, you can kind of tell that it's going on right now. I like it. Do it. Keep on.
It wasn't weird not being talked to and pulled down to refresh and resetting the room and like all of those things that are Clubhouse specific. It wasn't weird for you.
No, the only thing that's weird is like, Luria, that you're speaking to me right now, and you I have no way of knowing that it's you that I'm speaking to. Had I not known,
See that
you.
Yeah. Our voice is so Jeff has 3 voices inside of his head,
Which is a lot lower than it's usually. There's usually a lot more.
Yeah,
So-
no, that's a really good point.
So I tried to figure out a way to do it so I could
I
bring.
was asking the question about jumping over there instead,
But then we'd have an echo. But see, but the cool thing here is I can actually. Jason went out live on the stream, so he's going out, and people who are still watching us live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube can hear Jason's voice as well. That's why I needed him to do it. So there's trade-offs between the two, because I stayed up late last night trying to figure out how to get people's icons on the screen, because I really wanted that to happen. But I couldn't do that because you only have one plug-in at the bottom. So this is what I'm doing. So here's Clubhouse right here, and it's going from this into my Rodecaster setup. So Jason, thank you so much for coming up on stage and let us know. Deb, I see you're there as well. Would you like to come up on stage? And I'd love to know what you're on Clubhouse quite a bit. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Jason, thank you so much. And Deb, when you come on, make sure you let us know that we have permission to stream you and record your voice. Is that cool?
And while she's coming up, Phyllis is like, "Hey, you guys are still on Facebook?" Yes, we're testing something, so it may be a little weird for you guys on Facebook, right? So we're looking at kind of the strategy of this. Is it weird? Is it not? But yeah, that's intentional that we're on Facebook right now, guys.
Yeah.
And YouTube
and everywhere. So I tried inviting Deb, and her hand's raised, but it's not letting her come in.
I'm here.
Oh,
You just have to refresh.
Oh,
Hi, Deb.
there you are. See, I don't even know what I'm doing. Hey, Deb.
Hi. I give you permission to record my voice.
Awesome. So what did you think
Hi,
of the
guys.
experience?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I caught you on Clubhouse, and I didn't catch you anywhere else. So I'm getting the Clubhouse experience, which I think is great. I don't mind not pulling to refresh, resetting, all that. Like, as a regular Clubhouse user, I was totally fine with it.
Cool.
Okay.
So did you know that I was recording it? Was it because you don't have many characters to actually type in the description or title? Did you wonder, like, when you jumped in, like, what are they doing?
No, because I saw that you I saw the title that you were recording, and so I knew right away that's what you were doing. However, I haven't had the time to go look. I think that terms and conditions changed this week,
Oh, great.
and now maybe we can't do this. So I don't know when the last time you looked at the terms and conditions was.
I looked yesterday and I couldn't
okay.
see anything. As long as you get people that you are recording them and streaming them, if you say that you're doing that it's okay. It gives you a warning if you plug it in. Like if I plug it straight into Ecamm, it says a big red thing. By the way, you need to let people know that you're recording them, blah blah blah, so you don't break you can get booted, kind of a thing. I paraphrased.
Yesterday I was in a group that was recording with some really big names in it, and they didn't have any warning and they weren't asking permission. So I thought that was kind of not good.
Yeah.
That should be breaking the rules right there. Yeah.
I went with Pat Flynn's model, and if you go back 2 weeks, Kim Garst he was explaining how Clubhouse works. You can see it on his YouTube channel, and he was doing the same thing. He was bringing them up and said, "Hey, do I have your permission?" And that's kind of the model that I based it on. So very, very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And I love the opportunity now to be able to have this side conversation, right? I did this yesterday with my agency chat, Twitter chat. We had the Twitter chat, and then we jumped over to Clubhouse and we had a further conversation. I love that opportunity. So thanks for bringing me up to the stage. It's nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Deb. That's the other thing. I mean, I think you could also go and not do what we're doing here is go, hey, we're going to be over on Clubhouse, especially when it opens up to Android, and going, hey, let's go over there and talk and continue the conversation. And this is just me being a nerd and trying to see what it looks like live and see if it'd be worth something. So
a couple of thoughts real quick. One, I'm playing with the, after party for sure. I think that can be a really fun thing, but I'm also playing with the pre-party and then sending people from Clubhouse to my live show. But maybe to fix this problem, Eric and myself, we should identify ourselves each time that we speak. Is that weird? Like, would that be a better way to go about it and say, when I start speaking, it's Luria? That way Clubhouse, but that's weird for the live stream.
Yeah, and it'd be weird for I mean, unless they think I'm speaking in falsetto and then throwing my voice. I think they pretty much know that it's you.
Well, I mean, do they like, how do they know? If you have some completely new person joining you on Clubhouse, how would they have a clue who I am if they didn't catch the beginning, right? Because people are popping in at all times, just like live streams.
Right.
But if they were listening,
not only that, but
go ahead, Jason.
Oh,
see, that's the other issue. Like, we all know to pause for each other. So if people are not used to being on podcasts or any live events, that's going to be a little strange too. But I think it would be nice if everybody got on. Well, I don't know.
My thought is right now, not only for the sake of identifying who's talking and all that kind of stuff, our room on Clubhouse, if Luria and I were on stage, it would show us then and set out notifications to our followers about this room, whereas we're just in the room. But if we were on stage, that elevates it and sends it out and, says Eric and Luria are in there. So
I was just trying to capture the live streaming
side. Phyllis had a couple questions here in Facebook that I think are interesting to think about in terms of Facebook's terms of service, because if we're bringing in something from Clubhouse into here and they're not a Facebook member, although call-in stuff I think has been
there's nothing that
okay with that.
But I was thinking that if this is a privacy issue or anything, if we brought Clubhouse up on screen along with us, that way the live stream audience could connect with the fact that these are the people talking. So just the
that as well, yes.
Mm-hmm. So,
and Jeff,
go ahead, Jason.
Jeff, one thing about the Clubhouse experience, it might be helpful if you take the top line of your bio or the second line so people could see, okay, this is the show, like this is being initiated off of Clubhouse.
Oh yeah.
Just something that can draw people to, okay, this is the context. Because if I didn't know that you had this show and I was just casually going through the rooms, I would be like, okay, wait, what is going on? The ghosts are speaking. So some context would be nice, and probably the moderator, whoever's a moderator should have some sort of description in their bio, or maybe even a text overlay on your photo that just says
live podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's true. Eric, you came into the room. Are you testing to see if you have an echo?
Yeah, so I turned my mic down just a little bit, but I'm still talking here loud. But it's so I would show up over there in the room,
okay, cool,
on the stage. So I can't hear it. I've got headphones in here. I've got my clear over the ear ones here, and I can't hear my phone. It's at the way other end of my desk, as muted as I can get it. So I don't know. Anyway, it's a weird. I still feel like there's just not a clean, proper way to do this.
If I could bring
everything.
Yeah, there's not a way that you can have the audio quality if you want to bring them up on stage. At least I haven't found, unless there's a way to do the some sort of Bluetooth thing. Phyllis does have this question. She goes, I truly think that you bring people onto Facebook from Clubhouse without a disclaimer. And I was, Phyllis. I would say I even did before we even started the show with Luria and Eric, but Jason did as well. Elisa, you're here. Do we have your permission to stream you and also record your voice? What are your thoughts? I can see you're listening.
Yes, I'm lurking here, Jeff. Yeah, you can record my voice. It's fine. I mean, I'm over here multitasking as always, but I love this idea of kind of the after party, right? So the people who really want to get more from you and feel like part of the group, you do feel like part of the group on the Facebook Live, but this to me is a different level. And the tech worked really well. Good job.
Well, thank you. I didn't know what I was doing.
And this way we can do
That's
things.
way.
We can bring in other tech, like our noises and things like that, right? So we can create a better experience in Clubhouse using things like the Rodecaster Pro and bring in a little bit more oomph production style, production wise.
So is anybody else, I see Pat's in here, anybody else want to come up on stage? If you do, make sure you tell us that we have permission to stream you live, because we're still live on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere, but we're doing a Clubhouse test. Oh, I see Sally Howe's in the house. Some of my friends here are really cool on Clubhouse, but if you guys would like to, just raise your hand. I will bring you up on stage, and we will try to get you, but we need to have your permission. So Kevin, I'm going to bring you up on stage, and I'd love to know your thoughts. And as always, make sure we get permission to use your voice and record it and stream it.
You may use my voice.
Awesome. Kevin, what'd you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, I think it was kind of ironic, given Laura's correct information about making sure that something is unique and purposeful to a given channel. I'm like that I stumbled into it, but I think I would be more excited if it was a follow-up or a pre, because to me, and I said this in an article, Eric knows I do a lot of like early adoption type stuff. And one of the things that I looked at is Clubhouse itself is kind of like a podcast that you are teased with the opportunity that you might actually be able to participate and have a voice, unlike Babbel, where you had the conversation, or Facebook Live, where you have the conversation going on the side, or YouTube Live, etc. So there was a big disconnect for me, trying to understand who was speaking. Again, to Lori's point, is the bubble's not popping up. So who is speaking? Who are these people? Even, like Jeff, when I popped over to yours, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go load up Facebook at the same time. And even doing a search, because I know I've seen you guys' page before, but even doing a search for Club Pod doesn't show up. So having a link at the very least that tells me where else I can go participate would be huge. But for me, I think that, yeah, there's an opportunity for Discover, and people are going to figure out unique ways to use it. But to me, I think the value is in the pre and the follow-up, where it's more unique and valuable to this platform, rather than trying to force it as a podcast. Because otherwise, why don't I just go listen to the podcast?
It's a good point. I think that's a good point. Well, thanks, Kevin. So I think one of the things that we're testing too is, I have a little bit of issue, like if I did a live and then said, hey, come over to Clubhouse, we're going to have a party, half of the people can't do it who are on Android. That's the thing that's a struggle, I think, right now. When that opens up, I think that's going to be a game changer. And Eric and I have talked about too is, what's going to happen with Twitter Spaces, which is going to be their thing of it. And there's a whole bunch of eyeballs over on Twitter. What's going to happen with Clubhouse? So I totally get what you're saying, Kevin, and I tend to agree. This is kind of a nerdy test. I don't know if we do it every time, but I know, like I was saying in the show, that like Guy just turned on his microphone and he had a bunch of people who came in and listened, because like Elisa was saying, it's nice to have it passive. You can do it on Facebook Live, but yeah. So.
Oh, and that's absolutely one of the things that I mentioned in my article is I love the passiveness of of this, like a podcast versus Babel, where you really felt like your eyeballs had to be on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or on a Facebook Live, like you constantly feel like you've got to go look and see what's going on. So I like that aspect of it.
Very cool. Well, thanks, Kevin, for your advice. Let's see. There's one more person. Let's do one more, and then we'll wrap it up because it'll be at the top of the hour. And I know Luria has been nice enough to stick on here with us as we nerd out on this stuff. So I'm going to bring Jeremiah. You have your hand raised. Make sure that we have permission to use your voice. And let's see. Let me see. Is he still there? Let me see. Oh, there it is. Gosh, not clicking enough. Okay. Do we have your permission to stream your voice and record you, Jeremiah?
Yes, you have my permission. Thanks for inviting me out here.
Yeah. So what did you think of this whole experience? I look like you're new on Clubhouse.
Yeah, this is actually my first audio stream that I've been a part of. I follow Eric on some other social media platforms, and I saw that he was part of this, so I jumped right in.
Very cool.
I'm curious, Jeremiah, real quick. What does cowboy boot YouTuber mean exactly?
Is this Luria?
Yeah.
I do cowboy boot reviews on YouTube, and I have
Nice.
I do a lot of them, and over the past year, it's been really, really good. I have sponsorships now from boot brands, and I actually had a question for you during the stream, during the podcast, because it's something that I'm really sort of struggling with. If it's an okay time to ask.
Yeah.
Do it.
So I have a question for Luria around the super chats and memberships. So I've been live streaming. I live stream about 5 to 6 times a week. And I have put together like variety shows and things like that. And I really like the live chat. I try to engage as much as possible. And it's getting a little bit overwhelming sometimes with the amount of comments in the live chat that I get. But I'm very skeptical and hesitant to go to super chats and memberships because I don't want to split my audience. I want to make sure everybody has the same chance, if that makes sense. And it's something that I've been thinking about and mulling over for about a year. Do you have any thoughts or advice on that?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's very noble of you and sweet of you to want to keep everybody, with the same opportunities. But it's not the reality as you grow that big, and
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things you need to know is that people are not only going to do it because you give preferential treatment to members or super chats, they're doing it because they love you. They're doing it because they want to support you. And so you're giving them the opportunity to support you through memberships and super chats isn't about you making money or necessarily even them getting preferential treatment. It's about creating a deeper bond between you and giving the community a chance to become a deeper community. So I want you to switch your mindset around that a little bit, and that will help you make that transition. And if you join me in an hour on my live stream, you'll see how I do Friday shows. We open it up for 30 minutes for open Q&A to anybody who wants to ask a question. These are specific to Friday shows. I do other types of Q&As during the week. But on Friday, we do 30 minutes, open Q&A, public. Anybody can ask a question, but you got to get in there and ask your question fast, right? Because we don't get to all of them. And then we flip on the members only and chat, and then people can chat if they are a member at any level. So $1.99 or more, you'll be able to participate in the chat and keep asking questions. Or the public can still super chat their question and still get their question answered. And we do a couple of things. I have 3 rules every Q&A that I do that I say over and over and over. First, put a Q in front of your question. If you don't put a Q in front of your question, you don't get your question asked, because my team is actually gathering questions for me so that I don't miss anything. And then don't ask your question twice. That just slows down the process. And number 3, super chats take priority during either public or member only chats. So, hopefully that gives you some kind of insight into how you can make it a good thing for your community and help you manage it better as well. Does that help?
Oh, geez, that was awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for that advice. It's what I needed to hear and the perspective that I needed.
Well,
on Instagram DM, I want to see your stream. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I will.
Well, Jeremiah, thank you guys. Thanks for your question, and thank you guys for showing up. We're going to go ahead and wrap and shut down this room because I don't want to take up any more Alluria's time. But thank you guys for this grand experiment that we have tried at the spot and streaming live. But yeah, so this is a lot of fun. I think there is an application for it. It's just the way to do it may need to be changed, or may have to noodle on it for a little bit more. But appreciate all you guys watching over on Clubhouse. Thank you to my guests today, Eric Fisher and Luria Petrucci, and sticking around and testing this stuff out with me. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.